Everybody.
We can give folks a second to get
Great.
on to. Oh, we got more.
And then did you say that I'm already a co-host so I can share my screen?
Correct.
Okay. So let me make sure that I'm on the right screen first because I didn't close everything out.
I do that all the time.
So my desktop is sort of a mess right now.
No judgment from my end.
Well, the real judgment is that I actually don't shut down my computer. And so that every once in a while, my computer is mad at me for not shutting down. Was that recorded? Let's not.
Well, I don't know anything about technology, but I will do my best to cut the beginning.
No, I'm just joking. I'm totally joking. Okay, I'm just gonna open up the RFP again. I know I opened it already, but I'll just open it again. Oh, it's in the PowerPoint. It's in a PDF. That's why. Oh, okay, there it is. Do we want to do introductions? Or do you want to have people put their names in the chat box?
Let's do that. If everyone wouldn't mind just throwing their name and organization in the chat, that would be amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and give that direction too, so folks who join late.
Well, I'll just go ahead. Do you want to do introductions for just you and me, at least,
Sure.
As hosts? Okay.
My name, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stephanie Benvenuto. I am the Vice President of Public Affairs here at the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. So we are region-wide and into the Baja side, a business organization representing 2,500 or so businesses across that span and about 300,000 employees. We are also a contractor with the county on a grant that they received, and we're very excited to be doing that work. The big thrust of that work, though, is working with organizations like all of you to make sure that we're supporting the businesses across our region so that they're more resilient for whatever is coming up next. I don't want to jinx us or say anything, but I know that we're all kind of blocking and tackling for our constituencies and our members and stakeholders. So I'm hoping to work with you all, and I'm so excited to see this interest, and really just excited to get to know all of you more too. You have my contact information now too. Going forward, feel free to ping me if you've got questions or you want a status check. I can't guarantee I have all the answers, but I'm gonna do my best. So good to see you all. Amelia?
Hi, everybody. My name is Amelia Barilli-Simon. I'm with the County of San Diego, specifically under Public Health Services and the Chronic Disease Health Equity Unit. And this is actually our second industry day because we did have one for the first round of the subcontractor RFP. And so, Stephanie, I don't know if you can share the link for the video that you shared before, either after this meeting or in the chat box, because we went through sort of the background of what is the CDC Health Disparities Grant as a whole. What is that, what's the number?
I think it was like
24, yeah, $24.25 million. And I went through all four strategic areas and how this particular grant is, this part of the contract with the Chamber of Commerce is focused on reaching out to our local businesses. And so we are really excited to have these subcontractor opportunities. And so what I will do is I'll be sharing my screen and pretty much walk through the RFP just step by step, because I think sometimes people say, think, oh, do they want us to address all four focus areas? Can we just really address just one or two? And the answer is yes, you could really just address one or two. So let me just check my text messages really quick just to make sure we're not missing anyone. And then I can get started. Okay. So let me go ahead and make sure I'm not sharing anything really crazy. Share my screen. Okay, can you see the request for proposal? Great. And so you all should have received this if you're on Stephanie's mailing list. If you are not on the mailing list, please go ahead and put your email address in the chat box or send Stephanie your email so that you can get these updates. There will be a total of 5 of these subcontracts awarded. And on my understanding, there's 1 so far. So we have 4 more, and they're all up to $25,000. So I'm not going to read through the entire RFP, but what I wanted to focus on, and let me see if I can zoom in, is the 4 focus areas. Oh, that was not zooming in. All right, so so the goal, and we're not doing a fancy PowerPoint because we want to show you that it's all here in the RFP. So there are 4 areas that we want to ensure are covered by all 5 of the subcontracts. So don't feel like your organization and your collaborative partners, and I say that because we do encourage you to collaborate as much as possible. If your organization has 200 members, there's really no need to collaborate because your collaboration is within your constituency. So just wanted to make sure you understood what that definition of collaboration was. So the first one is the subcontractor will work with their constituents to improve access to COVID-19 testing and vaccinations through the chamber's Time to Vaccinate and other vaccination programs. The Time to Vaccinate program, there will be a toolkit, and at this point, we're translating it into the 8 new threshold languages. So before there were 5, and I can't change my screen because I'm sharing my screen, but I believe they were Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Chinese, and Arabic. And then the 3 additional ones are Somali, Farsi, and I believe it's Persian. So I keep doing this. I keep wanting to quote it and it's not coming off the top of my head, but now it will be translated into 8 languages. So that's available. That will be available for you to share with your constituency. They can go to the website. So it's really nothing that you have to create. It's already going to be available for you. And then the county, of course, has vaccination programs through the business sector and other ways to sign up for, getting the word out. So always feel free to reach out to us if you ever want to have these resources. And then I'll go through them all, and then we can have time for questions afterwards. So the number 2 is for focus area 2, the subcontractor will work with their constituents to reduce barriers to employee health and safety related to COVID-19 exposures or illnesses. So this is very broad. This could be increasing PPE, translating signage into multiple languages, doing trainings, supporting businesses in whatever direction they have as far as promoting employee health. Another aspect is advancing policies. So if there's any kind of written policies or making, PPE equipment available, those are also part of, what you can spend your $25,000 on. And then there was a question at the last industry day about translation services. If there are any resources, any trainings that you want to do in language for businesses, work sites, employees, and you need them in languages, the county can support that, or you can also hire your own bilingual staff as part of the $25,000. So, if you want to hire someone who's like, a big shot trainer, you can also do that with your funding. Number 3, excuse me. Subcontractors will work with their constituents to increase worker supports, job security, health benefits, and/or childcare resources related to the COVID-19 exposure or illness. So again, this is really broad. It's anything that will support employee health and safety. And, if it means that you can, let me make sure I'm checking the chat box for questions. Okay. It means that if there's funding that you want to have a pool of funds available for staff to take some time off, or something like that. Let's say that you have a pilot that you want to try out with 5 work sites, and you wanted to have a pool of funds so that they can, allow staff who need to be flexible with their time or something like that. I mean, again, this is really the way you want to spend the money. You can increase worker supports through training, through policies, making a pool of funds available, making materials available, getting experts to come support work sites. You can also create pamphlets. You can create materials for websites. So if you need, let's say your website needs to be more interactive, or you want to provide better Wi-Fi or better capabilities for your constituencies, you can also support them through technology. And that's actually something that we'll be hearing more about through the chambers. But again, if you feel like that's one of the biggest things that you want to do, let's say they're not teleworking, but they could telework, but they don't have the advanced Zoom, because for the free Zoom, as we all know, is only 40 minutes. And if people can't afford to pay for a Zoom subscription, or any other, doesn't have to be Zoom, but any other teleworking subscription opportunity, and that's something that you want to provide for your constituents and for the businesses that you'll be supporting, then let's say 10, 15, 20 businesses want to have a more advanced video conferencing capability, so we don't have to call it Zoom. You can pay for those subscriptions through this grant. So anything that will increase worker safety related to technology, that's something that can be included. And then childcare resources, again, it's $25,000, won't go very far for childcare, but maybe that's something that you want to pilot for a certain period of time to make resources available for a certain number of businesses. So again, it doesn't have to be this giant project that will last for 5 years. You can have a pilot for 3 months, 6 months, and have something available that meets some of these requirements. And I say this knowing that it's never fun to give someone a resource and then take it away. So I do want to be sensitive, because I know that grant funding can be painful when people get excited about a resource and then you have to take it away. So I will say that, explaining to people that it's a pilot, it's time limited, be trauma informed in how that's presented. But, it's something that this is not going to last for 10 years. So it will be something that will be short term. And I think Stephanie can go through the timeline about how long each of these subcontracts, the funding period will be. Number 4, subcontractors will work with their constituents to increase business and worker access to emergency preparedness resources, such as adopting policies that link to the county's Ready San Diego or Alert San Diego app. We also had a presentation at our April Industry Day from Office of Emergency Services and also the Partner Relay Program. So those don't cost any money to address focus area 4. Oh, and then going back, I forgot to mention that as far as number 2 and 3, when Spencer Stein presented the Healthy Workplace Accelerator Program, and that's also free through the county, that's also something that can meet either number 2 or number 3, which is reducing barriers to employee health and safety and increasing worker support. The county's programs will meet those number 2, number 3, and then Partner Relay and Radio San Diego will address number 4. So I don't know if, let me just stop sharing in case anybody has questions. And I can always go back and reshare my screen. So was that helpful for people for me to walk through those focus areas?
Oh,
Good.
I wasn't sure if Ricardo was saying no or yes, but it turned out to be a thumbs up. Okay.
Any specific questions? So Enrique, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. It seems that these are very broad. And is that intentional? Because normally when you're applying for grants, they tend to be very narrow. And when you submit the application, they want you to make sure that you are very explicit in terms of how you're going to fit within the specific guidelines. So my understanding from your presentation is that there's a lot of flexibility here. Is that correct?
Yes, and let me explain why. So as you know, the CDC provided funding to the County of San Diego in multiple strategic areas. And under the business area, which is only one out of multiple target audiences for strategy 4, which is partnership, the CDC had outreach to businesses as sort of one of the possible audiences. And so the CDC does not have specific requirements. So when the county said we will outreach to businesses to help address the disparities of certain populations who are most at risk of COVID, it's very flexible. So when the county provided our ideas, really our idea was to partner with the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce and cultural and ethnic business chambers, economic development corporations and associations. And that's, we will be successful because we are already doing that. So when we pass this funding along to you, pretty much it's icing on the cake. So what we're trying to do is leave open this funding to have ethnic businesses and ethnic, rural, LGBT. I had that list last time. Of all the populations that are most at risk for COVID-19, what can we do for those work sites to promote safety and health and reduce disparities? So that's why this is flexible, because by the time it's gotten to your layer as subcontractors, it's really icing on the cake because the county is already meeting our requirements to the CDC by having these partnerships. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Oh, and I didn't get the letter, but how many of these grants are you going to be awarding?
Enrique, you should have just received it in your inbox. I saw your email, so you've got it now. In total, there are 5 of these, and the RFPs all look identical. So what you just saw is exactly what you'll see for the next one. We've awarded 1, so this is number 2. And we would like to complete this contract, so get everything executed. We're all signing on dotted lines first week of July so that our subcontractor can hit the ground running and execute on their program. And that their work will go through the end of September. Doesn't have to go through the end of September if it's, a subscription program or something that's more of like a one-shot, big impact go, and you're done in mid-July. Great, good for you. Let's get started on what we're going to do next. But it could go through September. And I want to, and then I'm sorry, RFPs number 3 and number 4 will go live mid-July. And again, it looks just like what you already saw. So if you want to get a head start and really start planning, maybe you're not going to do this one, but you're going to go in a couple weeks and apply for that. Great, you'll be ready. Number 5 goes as 5 and final goes out in August. And there are big, long runways to do the work for all of them. But because of the timeline of the grant, we wanted to make sure everybody gets to go. And one thing I want to give the county a lot of credit on is that everyone in this group knows that it's really infrequent that you have a funding opportunity that is flexible, because I think the county has approached this with so much humility, and as has the CDC, which is saying, you all know your constituents better. You know who you're serving better. We've obviously, the folks at risk of COVID and adverse impacts, we've missed the right ways to serve them. And so it's deferring to the expertise of the organizations on the ground. And so we're really excited to see what you all come back with too. If what Amelia listed, you know, you're like, I don't have one of those, but I have a different idea, please send it in. We cannot encourage creativity and partnership enough. So I'm going to shut up now because you have other questions, but there you go.
I wanted to point out that the deadline for this one is June 24th. Okay, and then it looks like Liddy has a question, and please let us know what organization you're from.
Oh, sure. I'm with the County of San Diego Black Chamber of Commerce. And I actually have a list of questions, but I'm going to start with one. So I understand that that the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce has the Time to Vaccinate program. Do you have like existing like educational materials about the vaccine and the resources that are available, or would you be expecting your subcontractors to generate materials?
We do have the campaign materials currently in existence. We're just working on finalizing the translation so that there's no barriers to getting them to all the people you want to get it to. Mm-hmm. But you can see the general gist of it on our website. You could absolutely just use that, and that's your vehicle, that's what you're delivering, and that's what you're executing on. If you think that there are components that should be added to it and you'd like to make it your own, or even rebrand it, because there's room on all these things for your own branding. But okay, if you want just your branding on it, just your logo, and of course, like what the county's going to require you to put as like, this is part of a grant, go nuts. There's no pride of ownership here. You're welcome to get creative with it, but you could also passive least resistance. Yes, you can just take our materials and use them.
Okay, thank you.
And then I don't want to make ultra promises, because now that we're translating into 8 languages, our goal is still for July for the release.
Okay.
You know, so that would actually fit under the scope of this round for the Time to Vaccinate Safe at Work packet.
Thank you.
And then Lydia, did you have another question? You said you had more than one.
I do, but I don't want to monopolize time, and I'll see if you answer some more.
Okay. So then is Tanisha Jean, and let us know what organization you're from.
Hello. Yes, thank you. I'm with API representative. And I wanted to ask kind of 2 questions. One is, how quickly from the 5 that are going to be chosen, we'll know what the others are doing, so that way we're not kind of duplicating efforts or in the same areas, as one, and I'll kind of leave at that one first.
That's a great question. I don't know that I have a baked answer for that, except because we have one awarded now, and they're doing a lot on the employee health and safety at the workplace, exposure focus, making sure that you if you test positive or your coworker does, what is it that you do to stay safe? But I suppose as soon as we award the contract and everything's signed, so we know what you're going to be doing, I would share that immediately with the other subcontractors, and because there's nothing to stop you from teaming up too, like if there's lessons learned. And one other point on the not being duplicative, some of your work might be focused on a specific community. Some of you might want to focus on the API community. Some of you might be really focused on the Latinx community. So if you're doing the same thing with different populations, there's nothing wrong with that. or, you know, geographically, I'm going to do all of my work in North County, whereas, you know, someone else might be South Bay or rural. Again, that's also part of the goals of the contract.
Oh, that's great. No, that's awesome. Great to know. And my second question actually is, you had mentioned including county programs with Spencer. Do you have that contact info and what programs is being provided?
Amelia, you're on mute, but I'm going to go ahead and put Spencer's email in the chat.
So it's Spencer Stein. So I'll type it in the chat box. It's Spencer Stein at sdcounty.ca.gov, and it's the Healthy Workplace Accelerator Program. So I will put the link to that program as well. And they're about to launch sort of an academy. So there will be a series of 4 TA kind of sessions. And the purpose of that program, and that he did a demo at the last the first industry day, is that you are actually incorporating the CDC's worksite assessment in an online tool. And then you get to see where the business, the worksite gets to see where they're doing things well and where their gaps are. And then we already have recommendations, links to policies, links to tip sheets, programs. For instance, if it's stress management, mental health, we have the UC SD Center for Mindfulness. If it's physical activity and free programs, there's the YMCA, you know, Live Well at Home. There's all kinds of links, because we know that it's hard to navigate all these county resources. And so we're sort of pre-populating it under these different health and safety and thriving, components of the CDC's workplace scorecard. So that is a very quick explanation of the Healthy Workplace Accelerator Program, but it's online, it's self-paced. You can just do it a little bit at a time, and it's individualized for every work site. So every work site does their own assessment. And in fact, if it's a giant work site, for instance, we have the city of San Diego, the city attorney's office could do one, and then Public Works could do another. So it can just be depending on the different work sites, but that was a different program. But for ethnic businesses, it's usually for someone who has at least 10, 15 employees, not necessarily if you only have 2 to 3 employees, but a larger work site. Oh, and there's also ergonomics. So actually, if you only have 2 or 3 employees, you can certainly have free access to the program and then learn about ergonomics and teleworking opportunities. So all of that is available as well.
Thank you so much. And I'll be looking for that email in particular for sure. Thank you.
I'll put his information, and then I'll link to the website so that you can, all of you can sign up to receive information about that.
Can I get clarification on one aspect? This is Carol Steele with Harmonium. This particular RFP, is there going to be 4 subcontractors or just one, and then you're going to release a second and third for second and third contractors in mid-July, or they're all now? Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. So we have 5 total. 1 has already been awarded, submit. This is the second that we're talking about that will be due at the end of next week. The
Right.
3rd and 4th subcontractors will be released. Or the RFP, the 3rd and 4th RFPs will be released in July. And so we'll bring those on hopefully late July. And then the 5th will be in August. So there are 5 total, but they're operating at staggered timelines.
Got it.
And
I thought
while
that's
they,
what you said.
yeah, they could possibly work together if, I'll connect everybody and there could be a connection there, but it's in no way expected. That would just be a really cool thing that happens. So you don't need to work about, you personally do not need to coordinate anything with other folks that are submitting separately. But you're welcome to partner If Harmonium wants to work with, you know, the Little Saigon Foundation, cool. That's great. We do say that we will give priority consideration to folks that have a partnership, but I understand sometimes that's just not how things work. But just for your consideration.
I
Understood.
add to what Stephanie said, because we do want to, since we only have 5 subcontracts, there is the expectation and the hope that you're reaching out to multiple work sites and multiple businesses. So if you're only applying for one work site, that won't really meet the needs of this grant. But really, if you have a network of work sites, that's really what, or if you have work sites that are collaborating together in partnership, then that would fulfill the purpose of this grant, of this subcontract.
Thank you.
So I dropped Spencer's contact information in the chat box, as well as a link to the Healthy Workplace Accelerator program. And again, since I mentioned multiple work sites, so, you know, again, if that's something that you'd like to share with your 15, 20 constituents, and not all of them join, that's fine. The purpose is that you're sharing this resource. So we're not going to say, oh, you shared it with 10, but only 2 registered for the Healthy Workplace Accelerator program. We're taking your money back. That's not how it works. You're promoting, you are sharing, you are encouraging, and that's what this grant is about. No one's going to come back and say, you know, here's my checklist. You know, you will report on the successes. You definitely want to hear successes, but that is not going to be, you're not going to get dinged. You know, that's not how the funding is going to work. Actually, Stephanie, do you want to share about how it's 50%, 50%, how that works out?
Yeah, thank you. So for the funding, it's the $25,000 as written. It is half upon the contract that we sign. So we determine the deliverables that we're going to land on. What does success look like? I sign, you sign, we're all in it together. We will then provide you with 25,000 divided by 2 is 12,500. You'll get a check for that amount from the chamber. And then at the completion of the work, we will provide that final half. If your proposal is, this is our extraordinary idea, and this is how we're going to do it, but we cannot do it unless the full funding is provided up front, and that first check, the only check then will be $25,000. We are willing to have those conversations. We understand that not everybody can float those things. There might be a startup cost. You may have to hire or, you know, bring on some subject matter expert. Don't let that preclude any great ideas, but it's our preference for both accountability's sake and making sure that we're continuing to keep that relationship and, you know, that dialogue together to do half and half. But we are very open to conversation. Are there any other questions or?
Ricardo, did you have a question? Yes.
I was trying to look for the hand raising option, but I couldn't find it on my site. So I want to make sure that I'm clear on the proposal RFQ that we're submitting in. And we have to number them, or we have to hit one of the specific ones for the first submission for the next week?
That's a great question too. So no, as long as you can clearly tie it back to at least one of those, good. For informational purposes, the first subcontract, and I'm just about to get the signed copy back. They actually are hitting pieces of 3 different points, but primarily couched within the idea of employee illnesses due to COVID. That's generally where they're focused. But a lot of these are intertwined, right? So we know that worker support is going to help keep people safe, and you might be complementing that work with a county program. So it has to be a minimum of one of those points.
And do we want to spend time walking through the proposal structure? Would that be helpful for people? Okay, let me share my screen again. Oh, I actually have to hit the word share. Sorry about that. So it starts on, so Stephanie went through the timeline. What page is this? Page 4. So do you want to go through this, Stephanie?
Yeah, happy to. So this is all pretty straightforward, but please jump in if you have a question. Your cover letter really is sort of the summary of what you're going to do. So the narrative, tell us the story about your organization. Have you done similar work before? How did you come up with the idea of what program you're going to do? You know, this is the work that we've done forever. This is a pilot program we're going to be able to expand. During COVID, we saw this, and so this is how we came to this decision, and we're equipped to do it because we have the staff and the expertise and the internal infrastructure, the relationships. It's so broad that it's really hard to give you like exactly what a perfect cover letter looks like, but really we want that the background of your organization and how you are going to be able to execute to come through very clearly on that cover letter. Whoever signs that cover letter also will be the person who's going to say, yes, I am the person you can hold liable if any of this is untrue. I am the person who has the authority to do this sort of thing. Not that any of you would do anything dishonest like that, but this is the sort of like administrative legal part of this effort. And you'll also note that Exhibit A, which is our county contract, you're going to want to make sure that you look through all that as well because of the flow down language. And we talk about flow down language quite a bit in that the first industry day, which we've linked to in the chat box. But you're going to have to comply with that as well. It's nothing so scary or intimidating, so don't let that scare you off. But just a couple of good governance and accountability pieces in there. So the person who signs the cover letter is going to be agreeing to all of that as well.
And the cover letter is not going to be long.
No, the first one, some of the ones we've seen, I mean, it's like half a page, it's 3/4 of a page. Please don't send us a novel. Nobody has that kind of, you don't have time to write it. We don't have time to read them all. So just please don't do that. Qualifications and experience. And so this can be a separate page. This can come through on your cover letter. I think for ease of explanation, a separate page might be the easiest for you all. So, you know, what work have you done historically? Particularly, how are you working with these populations that Amelia has talked about are the priority? Please dig into that. And then, you know, what are you really proud of? What's your prize work that you can talk about that are going to show you as a standout applicant who's going to be able to execute on this? And then finally, 3 professional references, and we do need their contact information for work that is similar. If you're doing a new program, I mean, kind of connect it to similar setups, right? This is a similar sort of partnership that we've done before. This is a similar sort of, we've worked with the county before. Anything like that would be really appropriate. But we do need 3 of those. You do not need to overachieve and provide more than 3. I know that sometimes that's tempting, but 3 is perfectly sufficient. And then the scope of your service and your work plan.
Sorry.
No problem. And so this is really, tell us what it is that you're proposing to do. And we take is there an overall page requirement or word count for each section? There is not, no. We're not nearly that high maintenance. As long as you're getting all that information in there, I'm good. But in this point, we take a lot of what you put in your scope of service and work plan, lift it, turn it into, you know, chamber contract language, and then put it back into the contract that you sign. So you tell us what it is that you're going to be doing. What are those deliverables, AKA what is success? Is it outreach to 5 different work sites and 100 employees? Is it 15 subscriptions? Is it 10 trainings? Is it a revamp of 3 websites in 2 languages? I don't know, and I'm just off the top of my head, don't take any of that seriously. but tell us what that looks like. Who are the target populations being served? We can't emphasize enough that target population really matters here. That is what we're trying to get into. These folks who have not had access to these services or programs or policies historically, and very much more recently during pandemic. And then how often is this going to happen? If it's an event, if it's outreach or something like that. If it's not, then just tell us kind of your calendar. Start work this day. We're going to hire, we're going to do whatever, and we're going to be done at this time. And then kind of tie it back to those points that we talked about in those first 4 priorities. And then our methods for determining success. And again, the determination of success is really going to go back to those objectives. And you're going to see, we'll work together on finalizing that in the contract language, but that would be really helpful. And just clear, don't overshoot, promise what you can do, and just let's be really clear about what our success looks like. And I think that kind of covers it. Oh, and I'm sorry. And then your timeline. So the timeline and the scope of service and work plan are going to feel a little bit redundant, and we know that, but we just do like the timeline pulled out without a lot of that language so that we can clearly see that. I see. Do you have anything? Okay, so yeah, no word count numbers or anything like that. Don't worry.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody got a copy of that RFP, either through the original posting or that you'll provide us your email address and we can send it out to you. Oh, you're on mute, Stephanie.
Dang it. I did provide my cell number and my email. On cell, truly text is like the easiest way to get a hold of me. I know that like we were playing phone tag, me and Ricardo, when we were doing PPE stuff too. So life just kind of gets wacky, but feel free to reach out. Like I said, if you didn't get something, if you want to talk further, you can always shoot me an email, but Chad, gotcha. You'll get it now. And Chad, you should have been on our existing list. So I'll double check that.
So we wanted to leave a lot of time for questions. So this was not a very formal presentation. Again, if you wanted to watch the formal presentation, there's a video. I think there's like 7 viewers on YouTube. I think I was one of them. So feel free to go back for the history if you want that information. What I can also provide is the link to the to Partner Relay and Ready San Diego. So let me go ahead and find those resources as well.
Tanisha, you'll get it in just a moment. And you'll all be, as I'm getting your emails, I'm adding you to my other distribution list, so you'll be hearing from me more. Just a forewarning.
So I'm dropping in Ready San Diego, which is sort of the generic employee and community emergency preparedness website for anyone in the county. It's not just for businesses. There's also an app that individuals can put on their phones. So that's something that if you want to share with businesses, they can have their key staff load the app. They can share with all their employees. All their employees can have the app. But what I really wanted to share was Partner Relay, which is specifically for businesses that have multiple languages. And how do you share emergency announcements through people within your organization that speak different languages? So let me just go ahead and make sure Partner Relay is in the chat box.
Okay, so Amelia's going to get that up there, and then just one final call for questions or comments. Again, if you're not going to submit for next week's deadline, that's fine. The other RFP will go live. I can't believe we are already in July. Within weeks, so you'll have that chance to. We do provide a 2-week window. It goes live 2 weeks, then it's your application deadline. So you can always anticipate that as well. And you're welcome to share any of this information. If you have a friend who just you think would be appropriate, share it. No problem.
For some reason, see, even I have a hard time finding things on the county website. I found an article. Let me see if I can find the actual page. I think it's either under OES or another page. It might be under Public Health Services. See, so this is why, we want to make it easy, because even I, as a county employee, don't always find these county resources.
While you're looking, Liddy, did you have another question?
Yes. So one of the questions on the RFP is, how are you tracking success? And I wanted to know, what kind of success metrics are you looking for?
Great question. So as part of the award agreement, we will be meeting twice per month with the subcontractors, just checking in on, status, what's working, what's not. Should we be giving you more support in something, just so no one's surprised at the conclusion of this, because we do, once you tell us what's working or what's going on, we have to report that back to the county, and the county, I'm sure, reports back to CDC. So it's hard to tell you what a success metric specifically would look like, because they are broad. Success for an educational program will look different from success for a pilot voucher subsidy or some sort of financial support, right? Mm-hmm. But broadly speaking, success will look like the workforce, the customer base, or the employer communities who represent generally disenfranchised or under-resourced folks getting access to supports or programs that make sure that the next time there's a COVID surge, or God forbid something else out there, that they're not left without resources or tools or ability to weather those storms. That's broad success. Amelia, do you have something you want to add to that?
I think that the only thing I wanted to add was that really think of it in terms of your target population and what are they either receiving or achieving.
Mm-hmm. That's well said. Yeah. Did you have other questions, Liddy? Nope. I love this.
Let's see. Oh, do you provide a reporting tracker?
No, but we would be very willing to do that.
Okay.
Depending on the structure of the program and really determining kind of what we're reporting and when and how. Absolutely, we would do that.
Okay. So what I'm gathering is that you want to be very flexible and open-minded about what form the services or resources actually takes, and then you'll adapt what kind of metrics and reporting you're looking for based on what services or resources are being offered by the subcontractor.
Yes, exactly. It's like a design your own adventure sort of thing. This is a custom relationship that we'll all share with one another. Oh, Amelia found it.
Oh,
well, I found Victor Ruiz's information, and I just realized I did not yet put his email address. So I think I'm using the wrong name. But Victor Ruiz is part of the Office of Border Health, and they have the program. So if you reach out to the County of Border Health, and you can say that you're interested in their partner relay program for work sites, he will be your contact.
Thank you, Amelia. Liddy, what else?
This is actually my last question. You ask for a timeline, but you kind of provide a timeline. So how do you want us to expand on the timeline you provide?
Well, basically our timeline is start and finish. So we would like you to fill in the what happens in
What
between.
happens in the middle? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
then I wanted to say, be creative. If there are other programs, for instance, let's say you just love the county's behavioral health programs for mental health. It's up to us. Something else in the county or something else in the community. When we know we're not the only ones. Let's say, in Southeast San Diego, the, Jacob Center has resources, or I'm just, making something up. If there are other resources that you want to partner with, feel free to use any of those resources. We were just throwing out some business friendly resources. Again, the business sector for the county's COVID-19 business sector has a wealth of information and resources. I encourage you to look onto their website. I'll drop that in the box too. So it's really what you find to be the most supportive of your programs. Of your constituency, of your work sites and the businesses. And again, especially if language is an issue, if what the work that you want to do is to do something in language, and then these websites have just too much information and you want to do a one-on-one or trainings, you can do that, whatever meets the needs of the work sites that have been struggling to get the information out or to receive the information.
Is there anything else anybody would like to touch on? Okay, well, we might be giving you back some time in your day. I know that we blocked until 2:30, so that's a win on a Friday, no less. Amelia, anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm just dropping the very long link to the COVID-19 business sector. I think they have a shorter, prettier one, but that's where this is. But I really want to thank all of you. We had a great showing today. And we hope that this is something that can support your networks and the work sites that you can support. And thank you so much for participating. And we look forward to hearing your great ideas.
Yep, ditto. Thank you, everybody. You know where to find us if you have questions or anything to follow up on, but looking forward to those submissions. Have a nice afternoon.